Hello everybody! Today is seed starting day. In this video, I'd like to do a step-by-step of how to start Atlantic Giants. But first, I'd like to show you the seeds that I'm going to start this year. And once again, I'm going to do 4 plants, and because I always like to start one of my own seeds and do the 816, and then I'm going to start the 2015 Ford, the 2031 Brant, and then the 1612 Marenser. So let me get everything set up and I'll show you what step 1 will be. Alright, so before we can actually plant the seeds into our peat pots, we need to do some prep work. We need to first label everything so we can keep the seeds straight, so we know which one is which. And I also like to write the numbers of each seed actually on the seed. So then once we have that done, then we need to file the perimeter of the seeds. And let me get you a little closer to show you what that looks like, because you can sand them a little too far. Alright, so when you sand the edges of your seeds, it's essentially gonna look like that. You're gonna have a white, a dark, and then a white line. And once you see that, you want to stop, because if you go any further, you will hurt the cots or the little seedling that's inside there. And kind of comparison, this is what it'll starts out at, and then you're going to sand it, and then it'll look like this. But be very careful. Right when you get to this, which is the tip of the seed, and that's where the root will come out, you want to avoid this area right here. You can see right where I stopped sanding. You don't want to touch this area, otherwise you'll damage your seed and there'll be a good chance it won't germinate. So do that with all your seeds, and it's going to do 2 things for you. One, it will help the seed gather moisture to rehydrate, and then 2, when it does come up and germinate, which I'll show you in the next video, it'll be easier for whether the seedling to take the shell off by itself, or if you have to take the shell off for it, and it'll make that job a lot easier, and I'll show you that in the next video. So next, after we sanded the edges of the seeds, we're going to want to soak them, which the purpose of that is to rehydrate all of your seeds, because they've been dried out and we need to reintroduce moisture into the seeds before they can actually germinate, and soaking them speeds that process up. So now I only do it for 2 hours. You could go for 3, but any longer than that and you do risk the chance of waterlogging your seeds, which will decrease the germination rate, or even to the point where they may not germinate at all. So 2-3 hours max of soaking. If your seeds are a little thicker, you can go more to the 3-hour soak, but if they're thinner coat seeds, no more than 2 hours. And also, as you notice, they're floating. So I like to put a cup on top of it with some weights, and that helps push the seeds down, and they all are underwater now. So while that is doing that, I am going to take all the pea pots. I'm going to put them in a bucket and soak the pea pots. Alright, so now I put all the pea pots into this container and filled up with some water and let those soak while the seeds are soaking. And I will put some weights on here to push these down too, because they like to float as well. Alright, so you can see, got the starter mix all mixed up. Got it to the proper moisture level, which is also the reason why I soak the pea pots, so that they don't suck any of the moisture out of the starter mix. Now, hopefully you can see this. This is a little left over, but what you want to do is grab the starter mix in your hand, and you want to squeeze it, and you don't want it to be dripping out. I mean, like just gushing water. I usually have it so, yeah, I kind of see it, so some moisture comes to the surface when you squeeze it, but no more than that, because the seedlings also need oxygen to germinate. And if you have this too wet, they're just going to drown and then eventually rot. So it's important to have this at the right consistency, not where it's just gushing water out when you squeeze it. Alright, so I put all the sticks marking what seed goes into which one, and then as you see, there's a little bit of powder on everything, and that is the Mycos and Azos. First, let me back up. First, I made a slit in the center, about a little over an inch and a quarter on all of them. Then I sprinkled the Mycos and Azos inside there, and then I went back and basically just made sure all the Mycos and Azos got down into that little crack that I made. So next is basically just plop the seeds down in their appropriate home. Alright, so when you're planting these, you want that pointed end right here to go down. So as long as you have the pointed end down, because that's where the root's gonna shoot out, and then the rounded end is where the cots are, so those will point up, and then they'll be happy. So I usually plant them where the top of the seed is maybe a quarter inch or so below the surface. And then I also like to make this nice and smooth so that I can see whether or not the seeds are cracking the surface yet, because then that'll tell me that they have germinated and they should be up within hours or within the next day. So now all that's left is I need to put some press and seal or saran wrap, either one works, over the plant, over all these pots, and that'll help keep the moisture in where it's needed. So I'll put that on. Alright, they're all wrapped up. I'm going to put them on the heating mat, and I'm going to set that to 85 degrees. So, until next time, guys, I will see you later. Bye-bye.